Welcome to the Plastic Adventures Podcast. I'm Doug, joined by Steve, and we like to talk about toys. A lot.
We're here to take you on a trip down memory lane, a fireside chat, if you will, about those little pieces of plastic that captured our hearts and imaginations.
So join us on this plastic adventure, and let's talk toys. Alright, so today we got a few things we want to talk about. I think Steve wants to talk about some new toy news that he's been seeing, and I think maybe we'll talk about some of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reissue figures, and then maybe we'll touch on another topic like repro versus original parts. So, Steve, what do you got for toy news?
Well, before we get on it and dig in there, welcome everybody. This is the podcast number 1, inaugural edition. It is Saturday, the 18th of September. We emanate out of the Tri-Cities, Washington. So we're hoping that this goes out to some of our local peeps here. And let's get right to it.
You hit all the important information that I just failed to give, so that's fine.
We did, that's okay. I feel like we should have a special sound effect for the news segment. Oh my, that was crazy. I didn't do that. How about like we're still getting it in Morse code? Like I'm the guy that can't figure out his Galaxy phone, because I am. Anyway, so news coming out of the week. We'll try to keep this swift. A lot of Q3 arrivals were delayed to Q4. So Transformers Kingdom, a bunch of stuff from Mattel. Hasbro came out with an official release saying that they were sorry. It's all shipping delays. So a lot of the stuff that we should have been seeing in mass for August and September is going to be pushing back to fourth quarter. But, you know, it's 18th of September, so in like 12 days we're in Q4. But
were there any specific Transformer figures that were being pushed back to Q4?
Well, it's a lot of the Wave 3 releases for Kingdom, which is featuring the new Trax mold, which is just off the chains. Great figure. Some of the Studio Series stuff, which has crept out. We saw that Wreck Gar today when we were wandering around.
Yep.
But that one, those are, months in waiting. A lot of these Masters of the Universe Origins that should have been hitting the shelves at a little bit more quantity and frequency, everything's pushed back for shipping.
So you mean we might see more than just He-Man and Skeletor on the peg?
Oh God, if we're talking Walmart, then don't get your hopes up. But yes, we've seen a few cartons of the Evelyn and Faker wave that kind of came through there with Fisto and the Legions of Power Merman. But hopefully we'll be seeing this stuff pretty soon. Finally, our Walmarts here in southeastern Washington are starting to close out. Put those clearance tags on the peg-warming He-Man and Skeletor, which were way overshipped because they were sold in full cases of each. So maybe that'll clear some space. We might get some of the He-Man and Skeletor 1.5s with the classic heads being on retail pegs, which would be really cool. Because the one complaint is the visual on the heads. But that was probably the biggest piece of news I came across.
When we were out today, we did see the He-Man and the Skeletor. I think we saw them down to at least $10 or $10.40 something, $10.46 or something. But they were down to 10, so I think maybe we'll see them come down in price a little bit more, than people can just start buying en masse.
Well, the longer it sits, the cheaper they get.
That's the point.
And I think we got enough of those figures to fill the Grand Canyon. There were reports of them going on clearance at a lot of other Walmarts. It's just kind of regional and even store to store, what they decide they're going to clearance and what they're going to keep. So it's about darn time they started doing it here, and hopefully that's going to clear up the space, because that line in general is what we like to refer to as retro done right. So that was the biggest news. In taking a look, the NECA Thing figure, the Kurt Russell from that series, the new one, is pretty sweet. If nobody's seen it before, you got to Google search it. I mean, it's a deluxe figure. It's NECA, so don't touch it or pose it, but the sculpting is just completely top notch. I mean, it was just like he's walking right out of the movies.
His face and his jacket are like, the jacket looks like a leather jacket.
Oh yeah, yeah. If the one thing that they do right is likenesses. Everything else, like I said, don't touch, pose, or play. They're really almost like little statues more than figures.
And then how about those Princess Bride figures?
Sweet.
Yeah.
Long time coming. Yep. Looks like we're going to be getting the Fezzik. We're going to be getting Inigo Montoya.
Inigo Montoya. You killed my father.
Or Inigo. Buttercup in the red dress, and really cool, Wesley is the Dread Pirate Roberts. Strange to me, unless they're going to be doing alternative head sculpts, he's featuring the bandana.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, you know, how it looks like either Zorro or maybe Hulk Hogan pulled his bandana down and cut eye holes in it.
I don't know. He kind of looks... I mean, Dread Pirate Roberts / Wesley is very iconic. I don't see him being mistaken for Zorro. I see it as Wesley. But the one I'm interested in is that Andre the Giant.
Yeah, it looks like you could put a little itty bitty toy beer can in his hand and have it disappear, and then you could get 107 more and pretend they're empty cans next
just
to
lay
him.
them all around.
I've just been drinking a little bit.
I just had a drink. I was thirsty. I don't know how to do Andre the Giant, by the way.
That's okay.
I can do Andre the Giant doing Arnold Schwarzenegger, apparently.
Yeah, don't piss him off. He'll roll your car over like he did to those Canadian guys 30 years ago. But I gotta wonder, man, you don't want to belly up at a urinal next to that guy after he's been drinking. That's gotta sound like a horse going off in that thing.
Oh my gosh. The things we talk about.
550 pounds and 30 gallons of beer coming out. Budweiser in, Budweiser out.
Yeah, I saw we were talking about him the other day, and you remember like, hey, remember that picture of him with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Wilt Chamberlain? And I looked up that picture, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not. I knew Schwarzenegger was the shortest one of the trio, but man, he was short compared to those two guys.
Yeah, all the movies make Arnold look like this big, huge guy, and Arnold's a tall man. He's 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, that's tall.
You put him next to Wilt the Stilt, and Wilt's 6'10", maybe 7 foot, and then Andre the Giant. Wilt the Stilt looks like Wilt the coat hanger rack next to that guy's. And what surprised you was that was taken on set for Destroyer.
Mm-hmm. You did. I didn't know that Andre was the what
Dagoth.
Yeah.
Yes, the creature with the horn on his head. I'm surprised he didn't go extinct because a pharmaceutical company thought they could use the horn for some male enhancement purposes.
Oh, jeez Louise. No, but I did not know that was Andre the Giant, and so now that picture of those three makes way more sense to me. I thought a long time ago, I thought it was like Andre was like, hey, I'm just visiting the set, watching what you guys are doing. I had no idea he was part of the movie.
Well, and with the way
is he in the credits?
I don't know. I don't know if he's credited as Andre the Giant or Andre Rusimov or what he would be, maybe. I don't know. But all I can think of is that must have absolutely been a nightmare for craft services. Those guys that provide food for the set. I mean, could you imagine? They got to have a pup trailer full of beer just for Andre.
Just for Andre,
and
he'd have his own table of food.
Yeah, Wilt the Stilt. That guy knows how to party. And one of my favorite lines from Pumping Iron with Arnold was when they're asking if he drinks milk, and he says, "No, milk's for babies. I drink beer."
You sound just like him.
So you know those guys like to party. We brought in 500 pounds of cocaine.
Oh my god! It was the 80s.
Those guys like to party. It's like 82. There's no internet back then.
Oh, even if there was the internet, those guys would be partying anyway. I mean, just think about it. Just their kind of lifestyle.
I don't know. They might have gotten canceled back then.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know how they would have fared back then.
Play too rough, yeah. So something to mention about these Princess Bride as we drone on about it and do bad impressions. McFarlane's website, it's a pre-order. So anybody should be
right.
able to get them. It's not going to be like any of these other disasters where we're seeing con exclusives or new toys. They go on sale for 18 seconds. The scalpers swipe them all up, and then you're paying $300 on eBay. So that's a great example of how you do it right on a limited release. Things that are might have a chance of hitting the shelf, but with all these shipping delays and issues, it's a really good commitment to the fans, letting them know that they can get what they pay for. So if you're out there listening, Amazon, Mattel, Hasbro, Target, guys, go to pre-orders. Listen to Super 7.
Yeah.
Don't hit us with this crap where it goes on sale at 5 in the morning for 13 seconds and no one gets the toys but the scalpers.
But give us pre-sales at the prices of resale. Don't give us $55 pre-sales and $30 shipping. I mean, give us we'll buy your stuff. Just help us, kind of meet us halfway. Just don't make it so expensive for us.
Yeah, shipping kills, but
yeah.
When you're addicted to plastic crap like we are, sometimes you do what you gots to do.
You got to feed the beast. All right, and we're back. And I think that'll take us into one of our first topics that we want to talk about. We want to talk about these new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reissues, with which both of us have recently acquired all 4 of the Turtles. Now we'll kind of talk about what the reissues are first. So the reissues looks like they're on original card back. Their weapons rack looks the same as it did when it was first issued, long time ago, back in, what was that, 87, 88? 88, I think.
I think 88 was the initial run, the soft head Turtles, yeah.
And then they got the Turtles, which look very, very, I don't think they're the same, but they are very close to the original molds. So I noticed, 1 or 2 little things. Like I feel like looking at them, comparing them to the original release figures, like there's like a hair bigger. They seem like a hair bigger or a hair wider. They just seem. Now I don't know if that's because of the different plastic that you've pointed out before, which we'll talk about, or what, or maybe it's just the fact that it's the packaging, the bubble, the blister bubble on the package. Maybe that's what's making them look a little bit bigger. But all in all, the figure itself and the package is very beautiful. I like looking at it. It's very reminiscent of the original release figures, which I've compared both of them, and I've looked at them, and they look really good. When you flip it over onto the back, you do notice that they changed around some of the design a little bit on the back.
You noticed it. I love the Turtles, but you called that out.
Yeah, right away I noticed that the portrait of like file card, as you will, is a different size. It's in a different spot. The story of the Turtles and Splinter and all that are in kind of more like panels, whereas before they were kind of like in a swoopy look on top. And then the upcoming Turtles, or the other things in this line, were down below or off to the side. So they just kind of moved it around, but it's the same information. It's the same everything. It's just kind of slightly moved around a little bit in the back.
Yeah, makes me wonder. The old figures, they showed the entire first run, so I think you had the 4 Turtles, you had Splinter, Shredder, I think we had Bebop, Rocksteady, and a Foot Soldier, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe April O'Neil was that.
Oh, April, okay.
Yeah, I think she was part of that first.
So yeah, on these new retro packages, it's really just showing the 4 Turtle characters that are available. One thing I can say that I really like, and this isn't about the package presentation colors, they're shipping in solid cases. Thank God. So when you go to the Walmart, you'll take a look at the pegs, and you're going to see one for all 4 of the Turtles. What that means is we're getting solid cases, and from what I can discern over the last several weeks, it's probably cases of 4. But we're not going to run into this thing with like the Star Wars retro figures, where they get 3 cases of Empire Strikes Back, and there is nary a Boba Fett to be had. Unless you've got a good hookup at a toy show that talks a guy down on price and you buy it. So thank you for that, Doug.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime.
But these are absolutely just gorgeous reissues. They did come out with a set of these similar reissues in the 90s that were at KB Toys, but they just had a singular sort of card art. The front of it, I think it had a different turtle in each corner, and you know, the various turtles came with that. And I don't remember if their file card was on the back or not, but it was a budget line.
I can't remember the back of the file card, but I do remember that on the front of the blister they had their names. So, like at the bottom of the blister, they had their Leonardo and Donatello.
Oh, on the plastic blister itself, but instead of printed on the card. Yeah, yeah. So subtle differences, and I think you might be right. They may be a little bit bigger. These turtles, the original 4, they've been reissued multiple times. 90s. There was a special edition box set recently at GameStop, and
that was the one that came with the Party Wagon box, right? Was that
well, no, the GameStop actually, it was like just 4 of them in this box, and if I remember right, it had a bunch of like brick type artwork on the side of the box, and they were not individually packaged. It was like a gift set.
Okay.
And that's when I first noticed the coloration difference on Raphael.
So his color difference was way back.
Yes,
even in those reissues.
Yeah, I took a pass on that box set because of the, you know, I looked at that and was like, man, come on, you guys, what are you doing some kind of a Mattel on me where, you know, you just change something so drastically you don't even try. But no, that color change had been there. It's improved. The new reissue of Raphael is better, but you having those original figures, putting them side by side, there's still a glaring difference. So of the 4, Raphael is probably the weakest reissue, but aside from that, I mean, it's everything you could possibly want. It is 100% retro done right.
Agreed.
You know, they're in the packaging, there's one extra little band around their waist that holds them in, but it's translucent, so you don't even really notice it. We did notice slight coloration differences from the original Turtles to now, but it's mostly just darker, more intense hue of the original colors.
Not enough that it makes me go, oh, these are so different, I don't want them. You know, these ones I actually really enjoy them. I think when we talk about that other one with the release where the name was on the blister and the packaging ones, I think of all of them, except for the originals, of course. But of all of them, this reissue set, I think, is the most faithful to the original. And I think these are the ones that people are really going to want.
Oh, yeah, far and away. I mean, I've been lucky. I happen to have a profession where I'm out in the field a lot. I can stop in Walmarts. I got a Walmart on my way to work every day. So I'm in there pretty frequently. At some point, they're going to give me a name badge. But I managed to pick these sets up. So they're getting out there. They're in the stores. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a trickle, but my biggest fear is that we're seeing everything right now. All of the cases have shipped. They've hit the Walmarts, and then within the next couple of weeks, everything that they had will have been put out, which is unfortunate, and due to our distribution woes at the moment. These things are all made in China, shipped over here in these shipping containers, and there's such a backlog while people wait to get shipping containers for cheaper. That's your toy industry woe right now. But you know, it's an unknown market. Consumerism's down just a tiny bit for action figures in general. So my fear is that this is it. But if you can get them, they're 100% worth it. If you missed out on those previews, exclusives, the party van that came with the 4 Turtles, Splinter, Shredder, these are great. Go get them. Go get them in the store right now.
Yep, we were out, putzing around this morning, and we hit a few Walmarts, and we actually saw still a few Leonardos and a couple of Donatellos still on the pegs, and we were hitting them, about 9 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, they're not, it doesn't appear that they're flying off the shelves, so people should be able to go and get one. Hopefully they restock them enough that people will keep getting them. Turtles always seems to be a very popular brand. it's one of the staples of the 80s children's, but I think even into this modern time, in this day and age, kids still like the Turtles. I think the Turtles are something that are transgenerational.
Yeah, Nickelodeon's done a great job of keeping it fresh.
Yeah.
There was a series from 2004 that's just killer. I bought the 4 Turtles from that series. They're probably some of the best ones ever made, but just one of these lucky evergreen brands. You know, it has interest in iteration after iteration, faring a lot better than some of the other beloved 80s franchises that we would love to see make a comeback.
Oh, absolutely. And the great thing about Turtles is if you've kept up on any of the stories, they've pulled the Marvel multiverse, I think, before the Marvel multiverse did. These Turtles were always incorporating each version of themselves every time they've done this Turtle in Time. So every time there's a new iteration of Turtles, they seem to bring back every iteration of the Turtles and interact with each other and do these really cool stories. And so I know that the 2011, 2012 Turtles, the CGI ones, which is one of my favorites next to the originals, they had a really cool story. And then there was about them meeting previous Turtles and going through the different portals and seeing the drawn ones and the movie ones.
Is that the one where you had the image version, the cartoon version?
They did the black and
pretty
white.
Sweet.
You know.
Yep.
Ragged Edge Turtles, but that's one of the things I do like about the Turtles is that every time that they do come out with an iteration, you know, and I'll even say this last one, which was not my bag of tea. I'm not really too keen on the art style of these Teenage Ninja Turtles, these new ones, but I do know that the stories are fresh and that the kids are watching them, which is one thing that's really good. So as long as people are staying engaged with Turtles, that is a plus. That is a plus, and that means the brand will just keep going.
Yeah, as long as there is TV series or movies. There's at least 2 movies, an animated movie and something that Seth Rogen, of all people, is working on for Ninja Turtles.
I heard about that, yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be interested. I don't know. We will see. You know, we live in a day and age of reboots and reissues. I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now. So everything that was old is new again, and it's going to keep getting new over and over again.
Well, if it's the things I love, keep getting new.
Yeah.
I'm a 40-something. I got money. I'll buy the toys.
I mean, we should be their audience, right? I mean, I hope we are their audience. If they're not making these toys for little Johnny down the street who's stuck to his phone screen.
Not the retros.
They're making these for us. And so we have to make sure that we get out there and pick them up so that way we keep getting things like this.
Oh, trust me. I'm keeping Transformers afloat.
Yeah, you and me both. Oh, so the other thing, let's talk about future Turtle things that we'd like to see. So this particular reissue, had the 4 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like that was the only one that was in this wave. I don't think there were any more in this specific reissue wave for that.
Looks to be. If you look at the pegs, they are separate pegs, separate SKUs for all 4 Turtles.
But personally, I would like to see the continuation of the wave go into Shredder and Splinter. If they're going to do only 2, those would be the next 2 that I would think would be like the logical choice. These are the next 2 we have to do. And then I think maybe after that, hopefully we'll see an April O'Neil, a Bebop, and a Rocksteady. I'd love to have all of that just original run in the reissue packages and on my wall and just looking beautiful like I think they would be. But if we go that route, those are the ones I hope we get.
Yeah, well, I think that there's a very strong chance, based on the things that we've seen, which are previews exclusives, the Party Van pack and then the Terrordrome pack, we got at least 12 carded characters that we're going to see. I don't know if they're going to release them in waves of 4. I don't know if the new cases will be split out between characters or like 4 characters per case and hopefully more cases ordered. But I mean, they might as well. You've already got Splinter, Shredder, Bebop, Rocksteady. You got Krang. You've got for whatever reason Slash. So they're out there already in these retro carded versions, so it makes a lot of sense that would be next on the list. I'll tell you my number 1 one. I do like the idea of having all of the original characters, but Get me a Casey Jones on card.
Casey Jones.
Yeah, save me from eBay.
So
Give me a Casey on card.
There's 2 figures. I have them. I have vintage. I have them original, but I'd love to see them on card again. Metalhead and Usagi Yojimbo.
Oh my God, Samurai Bunny!
I love Usagi Yojimbo. I love him. I loved him back in the 80s. I loved him on his... I had a Commodore 64, and there was a Usagi Yojimbo game that I played to death. I played that game so much. And it was just a little side-scroller, and the music was over and over and over again. Probably annoyed the hell out of my parents, but I didn't care. But Usagi Yojimbo, if we go on a sidestep here, well, come to the side with me, Steve.
Let's sidebar.
Let's sidebar.
Judge, may we have a sidebar?
Usagi Yojimbo is its own. He's his own character. He's not a turtle creation. He was brought into the Turtles.
Yeah, I still think it was Eastman and Layard that came up with the character, but Usagi had his own very long-running...
He had his own comic.
Yeah.
He did. And the Turtles, the ones that I was talking about that I recently liked, the 2012 CGI versions of them, there was a Usagi Yojimbo storyline in there that brought him back in and showed him interacting with the Turtles. And I would love to have an Usagi Yojimbo cartoon, just him, going on his Ronin path. That would be so cool, wouldn't it?
He's a very serious character. So you got the Turtles, who are all very big personalities. It's almost like you got a bunch of these goofy color guys, and it's nice having a straight man to bounce them off of. So that might be something really cool for the new cartoons. I haven't really kept up on them, but I would say sooner, probably sooner more than later. Although I'm sure they've got such a rogues gallery to dip into, and all of these support characters. So who knows what they want? I'm sure we're getting new Rat King and Muckman and Ace McQuack or whatever the hell that duck guy's name was. Duck.
He looks like a mix between Donald Duck and Daffy Duck. I'm not sure what he is, but
he looks like Launchpad's unsteroid abusing cousin. Hey, come on over here and get in the gas with me.
Oh, the duck. Why does he have a leather jacket? I don't know. Anyway.
Or the guy who actually studied in the McQuack family, studied aeronautics. That's why he could actually land a plane instead of crashing them.
Oh my gosh, DuckTales.
Woo!
And if you don't do that, you're not a fan, by the way. Yeah, Usagi Yojimbo and Metalhead, I don't know if we'll see them ever on a reissue card. Reissued in the way that I want them to be, like with the original molds and the original colors and all of that. I don't know. But, hey, Playmates, whoever you are out there, if you're listening, reissue Metalhead Usagi Yojimbo, please.
We're old. We're here. We've got day jobs.
We have money. Yeah. Just give us the damn thing. Give us the toy!
Just a little toy. Just a little toy to get us.
You got something under your nose there, Steve.
Yeah,
what
is that? This is some toy. This is some toy. It's my energy dust. Just a toy. Smells like China in my nose.
Steve, by the way, is my plastic pusher. He's my he goes out in the mornings, and I don't. I work from home. I have a busy schedule. I work from home. Not that Steve doesn't have a busy schedule, but his work allows him to hit the stores before the scalpers do, which, my gosh, scalping is another topic we'll probably reach on here soon. But I'm going to say this so the whole world can hear it. I'm very thankful for you going out and doing the legwork for me, because there's no way that I would be able to find these things before anybody else grabs them. So, like I said, Steve is my plastic pusher. He's my plastic crack dealer, I'll just, hey, Steve, got more of them turtles? Got more turtles, Steve?
See any of those Headmasters reissues out there?
Got any more of the G.I. Joe Classifieds?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a pleasure to do it. If you're in this hobby and you don't enjoy sharing it with somebody, you're doing it wrong. We're here because it brings the memories back. We're buying our memories back. This is much, much, much better if you got somebody to enjoy it with, which is one of the reasons we're doing this podcast.
Yep.
We want to share it with each and every one of you. That's probably the best part of it. Do it because you love it.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, this hobby, it's a hobby. I mean, I don't know, it's a way of life. It's a whatever you want to call it. You run into some really good people. You run into some not really good people. Sometimes you run into somebody and you don't talk to them for a long time, and then you run back into them, and it's like, hey, how you been? And then you talk about toys, and it's like you guys have never been apart. So I mean, toy collecting is it's not as niche as it used to be. And there's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of toy collectors out there. A lot of people who are our age who remember having the good memories of playing with the toys and just getting lost in the universe of whatever toy it was that we were playing with. And I think that, you know, a little bit of that rolled over into our adulthood.
Most definitely, yeah. It impacted our psyches. These characters meant something. That's what made the franchises so special. And the whole point of being in this hobby is reclaiming those feelings and memories. Yep. So I've said it a million times, you're buying your memories back. Collect because you love it, because this is just like baseball cards, football cards, comics. If you're in this thing to make a mint, this stuff's only going to be valuable until nobody's buying it. We're going to die soon.
I know, man. We're not going to be... my kids are going to have a room full of crap that's not worth anything.
Yeah, my vintage Optimus Prime's going to be 50 cents at a yard sale when I keel over just to get it out of the house. To save my wife. So
it almost, like, I felt my heart jump when you said that. 50 cents.
Somebody's getting the deal of the century. They'll be the person buying it will say, "Ma'am, are you sure? Are you sure that this should be so inexpensive?
Get rid of this thing.
Oh, it's my husband's junk." Yeah, just take it. Just take it.
Yeah, but you know what? That might not be true, because there are some things that I still think are pretty cool from the generation before me. Like, I think, like, we have our version.
Bell bottoms?
No. Like, take for instance, we have our version of Buck Rogers that we remember from the 1980s with Gil Gerard and Aaron Gray and the kind of souped up, kind of Star Wars-y feel of that kind of Buck Rogers. But I also really like the style and the stories and some of the merchandise that comes along with the old 50s style Buck Rogers and those kind of things, and the tin toys. Do you remember have you ever seen tin toys from Buck Rogers?
I do. I don't make Buck Rogers tin toys money.
No. But what I'm saying is that I think that the generation after us would still appreciate a lot of the things that we have from this generation, because I still appreciate the things that are from the previous generations of pop culture and sci-fi and things like that. So,
well, that's yet to be seen.
Yep.
Baseball cards are coming back. Comic books have never left. But I think that we need to push off of our sidebar and get into topic number 2 for today.
Oh yeah. So we had another topic that we were thinking about talking about, and that was, I think this is an age-old discussion from between every toy collector ever, at least nowadays, is repro versus vintage parts. Parts being replacement parts, original body pieces for action figures, certain type of vehicle parts that are hard to get. So I know that there is a market for reproduced.
Yeah, we don't want to say reproductive parts. That's a separate market.
Are we going to get canceled because of that? No.
Other podcast. Yeah.
But the reproduction parts. So I personally, I know I have reproduction parts in my collection. Some of them are ones that I've acquired either through trades, and I know that they're been reproductive, or ones that I bought on my own, because I just know, like, I'm not going to go out and spend, $30 a piece for a snow speeder engine for my vintage Kenner snow speeder. But I will go out and buy, hey, some guy made these molds for $10 each. I think I can swing that.
I think you're talking about my mask collecting right now.
You're
trying to buy those parts. Yeah, here's a orange missile. That'll be $40, please. Which I did pay.
I did pay that.
I did pay that. Luckily, I saved a whole bunch of money, in upwards of 5%, when the seller offered it to me for slightly cheaper. So,
but you get what I'm saying, though. There's a definite. It fills a definite gap that is no longer there by the manufacturers, and some of them, maybe we can get back into that with some of the reissues, if they start reissuing some of the harder to find things. I don't know if they'll ever reissue a Kenner Snowspeeder in the way that they're doing this. They might. I mean, they've done really good with the reissue for the action figures and the retro style Star Wars figures, which I absolutely love. I love them to death.
Retro done right.
That was retro done right. So we have not seen a retro vehicle for Star Wars retro line yet. So it would be cool if they did release a X-wing fighter or a TIE fighter, which I would buy both of those right away. Right away, boom! I would get them, only because they're just such beautiful toys. I don't have a vintage TIE fighter. Steve does. I drool over it every time I go to his house. But if there was one in box from the store, yes, I would pick it right up. And I don't even know if, I mean, would I want to get an original? I would probably still, but would it scratch that itch? It definitely would scratch that itch. But the reproduction parts are the things that we are talking about, not reissues, which I think there's a difference. There's a difference between reissue as an official toy. It's been released. Reproduction is not official. It's guys in their basement who know how to play with chemicals and know how to make these molds, and they say, hey, there's a need for some stormtrooper guns out there. People have lost their stormtrooper guns, so let me make a batch of stormtrooper guns and sell them to them. And I'm okay with that. I don't know how you feel about that. I am okay with that. I do know that in this hobby we do kind of trade back and forth, or we do sell toys a lot, and so I think as long as the reproduction is clearly marked that it's a reproduction, or that since you can't mark the little things, they're either slightly discolored or something that lets collectors know that, hey, this is a reproduction. I'll still buy it, but I'm not going to buy it for the price of the original. I'll buy it for the price of the reproduction. But I think they fill a need, they fill a gap, and that's where I'm at.
Well, I am with you 100%. I support reproduction parts. Again, as mentioned earlier, we're buying our memories back. So, if you're looking for that little tiny pistol for your Jedi Luke, vintage Jedi Luke that everybody lost in 2 seconds, I am 100% okay with repro parts. I agree that something needs to be done to differentiate them from the originals. Mm-hmm. Change the color. Do something.
You can make them close to the color, but off.
Yeah, I mean, you take that Jedi Luke lightsaber and do it with more yellow.
Yeah.
Something where it's a really spring green instead of that darker green that we got originally. Just something that you would know. As far as casting and 3D printing, I support it 100%. And usually when you're using those types of materials, it produces in a white or a gray. You can get dyes for them to do that. But this whole thing, the whole reason that we do this is for the love of those things. If you're investing in this stuff, then it's not a good idea. If you're buying toys because of the future investment, don't do that. Mm-hmm. Invest in your 401k. Play the stock market. Do something else. The only argument against these repros is it damages the values of the original. Well, you know what? No, it doesn't.
Not
it
really.
Does not. No. Maybe you have one and you want to feel like you're in some exclusive little club because you're the only guy with a pistol from the Castle Grayskull set. But
can you imagine paying? I saw one of those not too long ago. $30 for the little Castle Grayskull pistol. But yet you can buy them online, reproduction. Somebody will even injection molding and everything. $5.
Yeah, and you should be able to.
Yeah.
I honestly, especially if it's vital parts for mask vehicles, certain gears and internal pieces on those fragile toys. Hard to get pieces, as long as the color's different. Now, as somebody who has made silicone molds and used liquid plastic, you can make a reproduction with that method, and what you do is you save your vintage one, but on that reproduction, scribe in an R. Do something with it.
Oh, maybe someplace
on
it's
your
not
reproduction, and then make a cast of that. You lose a little bit of details, going from one to the next, but ultimately the people who are buying it, they don't really care if that vintage lightsaber is super, super crisp, you know, perfect. They want something that looks cool in Bespin Luke's hand, that looks reasonably like it should, because you remembered having one as a kid, taking it out of the package in the grass, and then not having a lightsaber anymore instantaneously.
Or if you were like me, getting in the back seat of the car right as soon as you got out of the store, popped the blister right off the card, and that thing went bing. And you lost it forever.
It's in somebody else's car now.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm 100% for repro. Years ago, there was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Sergeant Slaughter. 2 figures. One of them looked like the wrestler, and then one of them had more of a G.I. Joe-like appearance. If you're a G.I. Joe fan, we've been starved of Sergeant Slaughter. He's WWE. They are with Mattel. G.I. Joe is Hasbro. So there's a lot of issues getting Sergeant Slaughter. There have been a few toys here and there where they got a very limited license to produce. But it was at the peak of the 25th anniversary line, Retro Done Right. And I knew that these things, they sold like hotcakes. I think I paid $30 for a $10 or $12 figure. But knowing how to use these materials, I made a cast of the head, and I made it very available. I'm not going to discuss any compensation, but I made it worth everybody's time if they wanted one. I made these things by the droves, and I supplied it to them. It was white. You had to paint it yourself. You had to use a Dremel to hollow out the neck socket. But, you know, that was me helping out a bunch of brothers on His Tank, which is a great website for G.I. Joe, by the way. It looks dead with no news because, well, not much G.I. Joe news these days.
Not much.
But, yeah, that's technically repro.
Yeah, well, it is repro. I mean, that's repro in the sense of...
I mean, regardless of whether I'm doing it to help somebody or not, that's repro. And I was happy to do it, and the people that got them were happy to have them. And I don't really care what some fat crybaby down in his mom's basement thinks about me doing that and hurting the value of his original toys.
What is wrong with Mom's Basement? Why is every fat nerd in Mom's Basement? I love Mom's Basement.
Well, I like basement too. But,
no, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I sidestepped.
I'm not living in one. I'm 40 years old and calling my mother my roommate. Ma! The meatloaf! Bring it now!
Turn off the TV, Mom! I'm recording!
I want to use the internet! No, so 100% for repros in every conceivable way. I think it's a great way to complete your memories, and particularly on, oh God, like G.I. Joe vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
I see your broken toe cable from your Wolverine on your desk there, and it makes me cry.
It makes me cry.
You know, if they reproduce that in like a little bit darker gray, and
well,
you had it to complete, then that'd be pretty rad, man.
So the Wolverine toe cable is a very sore spot recently with me. I have both ends of my toe cable popped off, so I don't have the little loops on them, and I'm trying to figure out how do I fix this. And it's so thin plastic that I'm not even sure I can. And that's what's very sad about it. Now, I did go online, and there are people who are making reproduction Wolverine toe cable parts. Some of them are 3D printed, some of them are injection molding, but there are people who are making these, and I think those people are saints because I don't know how to do this, and I don't like my Wolverine without its toe cable. So, am I probably going to go online and buy a reproduction Wolverine toe cable? I am. I'm probably going to do that, and I'm going to thank the man or woman who did it. And this is one of the things that you're talking about, how people are like, oh, it brings down the price of the hobby, brings down the hobby. I, for one, am a firm believer of let people do what they're going to do. Let the person make their own choice. And this is my collection. This is my collection. It's solely for my benefit. is solely for my love and purpose. Now, we share it with each other, right? We talk about it. But you're collecting because it's something you love. It's what you want. And if you have reproduction in your collection and you're happy with it, who cares what anybody else says? They can talk until they're blue in the face about why reproduction is horrible for the hobby and horrible for the economy and all these stupid reasons, when in actuality it's my collection. I'll do what I want with it.
If that's the way you're buying or collecting, you ain't doing it right.
I agree. I 100% agree. Now, am I going to be happy with a reproduction toe cable? Yeah, I'm going to be happy with it because